Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tracks and Tackle. I am Ron Menser, the Arrow Eagle, and we got a full house for you tonight. Tonight's episode, we're going to go out west and we're going to talk shed hunting. So, this is a passion project for a lot of folks that appreciate and love the outdoors. And I'm going to get this thing rolling here. We're going to bring in my co-host, Chris Bookman from 3B Outdoors. Chris, how you doing tonight, brother?
Oh man, Ron, I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Loving life, living the dream. You know how I like to say it.
That's right.
Anything
Summertime
new,
living.
man? You missed us. We missed you on the last episode, but you're taking care of some family stuff.
Yeah, just juggling. I had my twins' birthday and juggling time with that and trying to actually get outside and enjoy some of the summer before it gets away from us. So all good
Love it.
things. All
Yeah,
good things.
summer only lasts so long.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let's bring in the other bookman. Josh is with us tonight. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Loving
Good.
life, man. Loving life. How
Good.
you doing? How was your day?
Oh, dying outside in the heat. You guys are saying you want to sit outside in, and I try to. The end of my workday, I'm booking for the air conditioning.
Yeah, I got it. We love to hop in the pool at the end of the day. Usually, whenever I get home, my dogs want out and they want in the water. And today was just one of those days I didn't have time to do it. I'm sure that my wife's got them swimming while I'm sitting down here in the studio. Anyway, regardless, I want to bring Shane back with us. Shane was with us last week, and Shane from the Upper Bay podcast. Man, you're becoming a regular, dude.
I know.
We love it.
What's going on?
It's why don't you, for anybody that didn't listen to last week's episode, go back and listen to last week's episode, because we had a very cool episode where we had a bunch of guys from the Tracks of Tackle collaborative come together, and we did like a meet the creators type conversation.
Yep.
Sort of like a roundtable talk. But Shane, for those that haven't watched that or heard that episode yet, why don't you introduce yourself and your brand?
Yeah, so my name is Shane Muller. I run the Upper Bay podcast. We're at Eastern Shore, Maryland. We cover all things hunting and fishing, Maryland. We hit on Delaware. I got some buddies over in Delaware too. So we do everything from shed hunting to deer hunting, waterfowl, arrowheads, you name it.
Awesome.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, well, let's round this thing out. We got a full house, like I said, tonight. And Shane, why don't you introduce your buddy Mason, and I'll bring him onto the show.
All right, where is he? Let me see that face.
There
he is.
What's up?
What's up, buddy?
Look at that porn
Not
stash,
much.
boy.
Meet you guys.
Sun shining where Mason's at.
Feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, Mason and I met. Oh man, is it 3 years ago now, Mason?
Probably, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, met him through another friend of ours, shed hunting, and then when I started the podcast, I brought Mason in with me, just because he's obviously a really good hunter, really good shed hunter, big arrowhead guy. So it just felt like it was the right person to add to the team. So I think you guys are going to learn a lot from him.
Heck yeah.
Might be
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So I guess, now that we've got introductions out of the way, Mason, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Shane tries to set you up, but we'll give the mic to you, man. Introduce yourself. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time and joining the show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on. I'm from Cecil County, upper part of the Bay. Spend all summer, been out fishing, fish tournaments. Pretty much as soon as shed season wraps up till about the time deer season starts back. So right now I'm kind of in the in-between phase. I got like a month before I'm all sat on public land, and right now I've just been grinding. Got home today and rigged up some rods for tomorrow and practicing for a tournament on Saturday.
Gotta
Awesome.
love the grind, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
You talk about a grind. That dude grinds. I forgot what it was like to not have a family and kids. Just every day,
It changes
man.
things.
Grind.
Yeah.
Changes. Go ahead, Chris. Lay into it.
Last year when I first met Shane, he was, really doting on you and telling you about how hard you worked, and then you ended up killing. Was it last year you killed a monster on public land?
Yeah, pretty good one.
Tell that story real quick, buddy, for us, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So last year was my first year in the saddle. Before that, it had been all climber, and I'm an avid shed hunter. That's probably my number one thing that I love. So during shed season, I went in and walked this property and found some sign. I liked it, and picked out a tree in, I guess it would have been back in February, and threw a camera in there. Kind of struggled to get deer on it all summer. About I guess it was about August, I got the first picture of him. Real wide 12 point with some kickers. And I only got 2 pictures of him from then until I killed him. So I was in there first week hunting him pretty hard, pending the wind. Sat probably a dozen times between then and September 23rd. And I kind of just been jumping around. I wasn't really on him. I wasn't seeing deer at all. I think I had seen 2 or 3 deer between all the sits. And I got a rainy night. It was cool, so I kind of slipped up a little closer to the tree I'd picked out in the winter, and kind of just, I don't know, throwing a Hail Mary, hoping that he would come out of this bedding area. And right about dark, I had a small buck slip down the trail, and he kind of followed in. He came in to about 8 yards, which for my first year in the saddle, I didn't think it was going to happen. He came straight in on me, not what I was expecting. The second he turned broadside, I put it behind his shoulder and went off. Obviously, overthunk it all night. Didn't sleep. Took off the next day and got in first thing in the morning, and he hadn't gone far. He went 144 as a 12. So I was pretty happy.
I'd be pleased with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you killed a lot of deer in your time, like most of us on the show here have. But I mean, what does it feel like? When we talk about why we do it, like, try to describe that feeling. When you've made the right shot, but the hardest thing for me, Mason, is when you make the shot and you got to back out, and it's that restless night until you can get back in the morning.
Absolute worst, especially like I kind of gave up all of August fishing wise, just dedicated to this deer. I was outclassing. I mean, it pretty felt like every night outclassing with my camera, hoping to put eyes on him. And I never glassed him, glassed some other bucks. So when I finally put the first eyes on him and he was about 40 yards rubbing a tree, you guys know the feeling. It feels like it'll never happen, like they're a ghost when you get a deer.
No doubt.
He got that close, and everything's, whole time in my head, I'm thinking something's going to go wrong, especially when he came in straight on me, looking at me. And it was right at dark. I think would save me as I was shooting no peep. And, 8 yards, like, that's a chip shot at the compound. And even though I knew that, watched him go about 50 and out of sight. And I started calling everybody I knew. Called my dad, was the first call, and got out, scooted around him, and went back in the morning with one of my good buddies who I hunt public with and my dad. And we looked for about an hour. We didn't have great blood because of the rain overnight. And, kind of expecting him to be there. So when we went about an hour with nothing, it didn't feel too good. And we were on our way back to the tree that I killed him in when we came across him. So huge relief.
Yeah.
The worst feeling knowing you could have wounded an animal like that. So it was definitely
that's a completely different feeling, when you're not when you're unsure.
Yeah.
Ron, I actually just sent you a picture to your email of that buck. If you want to throw it up, Shane had sent me. If you can,
All right,
I'm not sure.
Let me see if I figure that out. You guys talk amongst yourselves like gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Our dad had a similar story in early muzzleloader season. He didn't realize at the time, he smashed a hammer buck. And Josh and I went hunting another day looking for a different property. And
the next day,
I'm sorry, you're right. And we went out there. I think I took one of my sons with me. He was real young at the time. We just talked about this. He was 5, my oldest boy at the time. And we took him to our farm, and our dad went back to look for the deer, and stressed out, sleepless night, not even knowing it was a big deer at this time again. And Josh called him to see how he was doing, and my dad was frustrated, and he sat down. And Josh, if I'm not wrong, he sat down because you called him, and it was at that point he looked up, and the deer was like 5 yards from him.
Yeah, that's what he likes to tell the story, that I helped him find the deer, and I wasn't even there. Because if he hadn't stopped to answer the phone, he never would have seen it. That's how he tells the story. I mean, I wasn't there. Obviously, I was the one making the phone call, but on the receiving end, hearing how excited he got, and then, man, when he walked up on that deer, and then we got a picture of that deer, I mean, it was unbelievable. Biggest deer he's ever killed in his life. He's been out west to Missouri and Iowa and all those places, and he kills the biggest deer of his life 3 miles from his house.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did you guys see that photo?
Yeah, it popped up for sure.
All right,
Yes, sir.
on. Yeah, that's a
It's
dandy. There it is.
Yeah, man, that is a hammer.
So, Mason, when I talk about like that overnight feeling, when just the uncertainty or whatever, the complete opposite is when you get to make that phone call. Once you found it and you start calling your buddies and texting your friends and stuff.
100%.
What sucks about that waiting overnight thing is like specifically this case, he sent me a picture of the arrow and he's like, there's not much blood on the arrow. And there really wasn't. So him and I both were like, yeah, like wait overnight. But his buddy that helped him recover it the next day was like, we got to get in there right now. He's in there. He's on we got to get in there. It's like, it's so hard to battle that mental thought. Like, maybe he is right in there.
Even when you know better.
Yeah, that's a tough lesson that I've had to learn. I've definitely jumped a couple deer out of some bloody beds and then lost them. That's definitely a lesson I've learned the hard way, is to try to be patient, even if you think you made a good shot.
Right.
Yeah, and if you know Josh, being patient is
not my forte.
Yeah,
I remember when I was younger, I took a little 5-point with the bow. It was one of wasn't the first buck I killed, but it was one of the first couple bucks that I killed when I was younger. And I was home with my older brother. And so, I hit this thing, hit it with the rage. It wasn't going far. You knew the area that we were hunting. And, I let it go for a little bit. And I was going to back out, but he wasn't that far. So I went and I got my arrow. And when I got my arrow, because he didn't go far and lay down, he hopped up and he ran over the ridge. And we ended up tracking the deer. Yeah, I mean, we backed out, we waited, and then we went and got it. And he probably ran like another 75 yards. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't run that much further. But my brother to this day, still busts my chops for going and getting my arrow. And, you would think that deer ran 3 miles after I jumped it up, the way my brother tells the story.
Next county over, man.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, brothers are good for that, right, Josh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's get into it, man. We appreciate you guys hopping on as always, but I want to set the scene. You guys made a trip out west earlier in the year, and we're just trying to find the right time to get you to come on the show and tell us about it. You were saying about being a shed hunting, being a passion project, and if you have any success doing that sort of stuff, you can get the itch pretty easily. But why don't you guys tell me a little bit about the story, the landscape, set the scene for the audience.
You talk about getting the itch. If normal people like us, we find like 4 a year, we're good. Like that, we're hyped. This kid, what was this year? Go ahead, tell him.
74. Well, whitetail.
72.
Yeah, that's your best year?
Yeah, by 3. I think I had 71 before that. So,
yeah,
that's incredible.
Good enough.
I have found 2 my whole life. I didn't find them. My son found them.
They're tough.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's like hunting for a 4-leaf clover, man.
It is.
But so I obviously that's his thing. Well, he does a lot of stuff, but his big thing is shed hunting, and I'm into it, not to the extent that he's into it, but I have a buddy that lived out in Montana, and I literally think Mason and I were just texting, and I was like, I was just randomly just like, I bet he'd let us come out there and shed hunt with him, and I texted him, and he was literally just like immediately texting back. He's like, "Yep, come on out." So that was probably in like November or December that we decided that, and the next couple of weeks we booked the planes, and we flew out there. What was it, Mason? Was it April? Were we out there in April?
Yeah, mid-April.
Mid-April. So we were trying to plan. The hardest part was trying to plan it around the snow melt, because we didn't want to get out there and everything still be covered in snow, which we timed up pretty good. I think, truthfully, like the areas we walked, we were a little late. I think people had gotten in. I think the snow melted a little quicker than what we had thought, and some people got in there. But we put a lot of miles in, a lot of altitude, and we walked away with one antler.
All right.
And Mason found it. Imagine that.
So that was my question, was how successful was the trip?
That was a great.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's success if you get to go out and you get to do it. Plus, it's beautiful country out there.
There he goes. He's back. Yeah. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but my whole mindset was, look, like for me, it was a couple days away, walking through the mountains. Like, what more could you ask for? And Mason's like, man, if we don't find them, I'm gonna be pissed. If we don't find them, I'm gonna be pissed. And we actually found that. That was day one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And end of the day one, of course, we were hyped. And we're like, tomorrow morning, we're coming right back here. We're picking apart this whole mountain on this side, and we grinded it out for 2 more days, and unfortunately didn't come up with anything else. But saw a lot of elk, saw a lot of sign, a lot of rubs and stuff, which was cool. Not normally seeing that kind of stuff. We saw mule deer, whitetail, bighorn sheep. We saw it all.
Did you see Rip from Yellowstone?
Did not. Not too many people live in Montana, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So you guys would do it again. It was a memorable experience. So here's the question. Let's go back to the beginning. And, Mason, this one's really for you. Is like, what got you hooked on shed hunting to begin with? I mean, I know it's kind of like it's the perfect time of year. There's not a whole lot of other stuff going on. You're coming down off of hunting season. But talk me through your mindset on how you got your start in this.
So it's from the shed aspect, definitely my dad. He's I'd say even more into it than I am, and he got into it right about the time I was born. Just kind of stumbled upon him while he was hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And got the itch for it, and I can remember him bringing home piles of sheds because we don't have much private, so we're all public pretty much. And once I was old enough to be walking, I was out much as I can, and never been into waterfowl. I think that's the main thing. While a lot of my buddies are on the birds all January and February, I'm pretty much in the woods every day. And it's just, I don't know, it's a rush for me. I can pick up any antler I have and tell you exactly where I found it and how. And I think it makes you a better hunter. Like,
you learn to read the land a little bit.
Definitely, I'd say be a woodsman is kind of the term I always use. And I don't know, you see a lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah. Now I have a question because I've never found an antler in the woods. I've found whole deer. I've found skulls. I've never found a single antler in the woods. Is there certain things along a trail that you're looking for specifically, and then I need to look near around this area? I mean, tell me a little bit about that kind of stuff because I'm really curious.
So a lot of the times I kind of have my spots planned out. Like in January, I have probably a dozen spots that I know I need to hit because there's going to be other people.
Okay.
Then we go into February and I'm kind of hitting it the second time. I have places that I'll hit every single week beginning in January to March, just trying to catch them dropping before anything else. I think that's what I've learned the most is you'd be surprised how many people do it. So I try and stay on food sources, but really food sources to bedding. I mean, that's all they're doing. I'm not really walking heavy trails. I'm not really finding sheds along them. I'm not feeling like mature bucks are cruising them. I'm finding most of them in the food source or pretty close to the bedding. Obviously, we get a colder winter. South-facing slopes are key. I do like this year we had that snow early, so I was out walking a lot, trying to cut tracks, and I think that ended up helping me later because I was going back into those spots and finding some sheds that off deer that I had kind of located in some big woods and went back and found them. If you have trail cams and can know exactly when they drop, I 100% feel like that's the time. I know a lot of people that wait. Like I always hear people say, you're walking too early. You're walking in early February, all in January. And, you know, I feel like I'm finding a lot of antlers that wouldn't have been there mid-February. And part of that's because of public, but I think a lot of them are getting picked up. I think a lot of land gets trespassed on, unfortunately. And, I mean, I think miles for piles, if you're out there a lot, you're going to stumble on a few. I think that's just kind of what I look into.
Well, you can't call it luck if you're putting the work in.
I guess.
No doubt.
How many miles did you walk this year? Because I know you keep track of that too.
I don't. This year I didn't keep track of miles. I used to track on X. But I'm out, I would say 3 to 4 days a week. That's all I do. I mean, I'm never obviously not waterfowl hunting. That's kind of all there is to do that time of year. And I'm, all over the county into Harford County, even further south. I like checking out new public. And I'd say I find the majority of mine like that first week of February, last week of January.
Wow.
It's kind of for me, like when I think of the prime is like that time, because I'm also finding those deadheads on my first walks at certain spots. And if you can, several times I've jumped up bucks and went back and found their sheds, mid to late February. I think that can really help. And I mean, these deer are bachelored up, so a lot of the times if I'm in an area and I find one, there's going to be a few.
Right. I think, I'm one of those guys. Certainly I'm not a professional at doing this. It's kind of just like a pastime if I got nothing else going on. And, it's that time of year. I'm not a big duck hunter either. So I'm with you. I'm looking for something to do, in the early part of the year. And, but I'm also one of those guys that's like, man, it's too early, So you're saying like it's never too early just to get out there and your spots, where they're traveling through to get out there. You're getting out as early as January.
Yeah, so let's see. Not this year, the year before last, I picked up my first fresh shed on Christmas Eve, which I had a picture of the deer he dropped the day before, went in and got one side.
Mm-hmm.
So like normally New Year's Day is always my first walk. And then from then it's just going hard. Like you said, people calling it too early. Everybody tells me it's too early, too early. And I think if you have a private farm that's secured with cameras, nobody's sneaking in, that's definitely the way to go. But if you're not sure, I think you got to be in there early. And a lot of people worry about bumping deer in the winter. I think you can, but especially a lot of stuff that I'm walking is open woods. So those deer are all congregated in certain areas for something, whether it's bedding. So I think they do come back pretty quick. I think the other biggest thing I hear so many times, people say they saw a big buck somewhere, whether it be summer or the rut or early season, and like I'm going in there to find his sheds. Pretty good chance that he's not still there.
Yeah.
That time of the year.
Those are two hard pills that I think a lot of people have to swallow, is that a lot of people think that these big mature bucks, even though they were there in the fall and the summer, that's a lot of time that's not where they winter, and then the people thing, that was a hard pill I had to swallow. It was like, I used to live on one of the biggest pieces of public up here, and I walked it hard all the time. And didn't really pick up too much, and I could never figure out why. I just figured I wasn't on them, or I wasn't on the right places and stuff. And then once I met Mason, he's like, "Yeah, dude, he's like, people are walking this, starting in January. Like that's why you're not finding them, because they're already getting picked up."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually shot a buck in a muzzleloader season 10 years ago, maybe. So you're talking, what's that, early December when that comes in here? And as it ran, one of his antlers fell out. And then I found it, and then as we picked the other one up, it totally just popped out.
Wow.
Just totally so.
Yeah, there's a lot of contributions or contributors, I'd say, to when they dry up, when they fall off, right?
Yeah.
So explain that to the audience. Like if people are not familiar with this type of a pastime. What it's temperature, how cold, it's like how the winter was, it's their food sources, like what are the contributing factors as to when they're dropping early or dropping later, or everything in between. Hormones.
So a deer that's malnourished, wounded in any way is definitely going to drop first. It's definitely picked up on it the last 2 years. Like areas that I've walked that are big hardwoods, I'm finding a lot more sheds in January. They're not eating as good, and they're not nearly as healthy. I think buck to doe ratio has a big factor. That's another thing I kind of put into consideration this year. Like I have a couple areas where I know there's not many does. Like that buck to doe ratio is pretty close, and I think that I'm finding more sheds there earlier because those does are getting bred. So there's no third, even fourth cycle where those bucks are, in that seeking phase. I think their hormone or their testosterone levels are dropping sooner, which causes them to drop earlier. And I think, when you get down to like southern Cecil and areas with big ag and a lot of does where you're having that third and fourth cycle more often, I think some of those deer carrying a little bit later is just kind of something that I've picked up on. I also heard for years that a buck that shed won't make a scrape, activate a scrape, and kind of tested that theory out on some community scrapes this year. And I was having bucks come in and hit them on, one-sided or had already shed both. So I don't think the scrape thing really plays much of a factor, but I definitely think testosterone dropping early causes them to shed earlier, and the weather.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking what Shane was saying about the time of year, and where you'll see bucks travel in the fall. They're not going to be there in the late winter or later in the winter, and it's amazing once the rut hits or the testosterone changes and the dynamics of those bucks, and they start chasing, the amount of territory that they will cover changes dramatically, and they're going to go into another buck's domain seeking.
Yep.
So they cover a lot more ground in that late fall, early winterish time compared to later winter once all that breeding's been cycled through.
Definitely.
Yeah, and even this time of year too, like a lot of people just think that you just constantly have the same population of deer on your farm and all the time, right? And like every year I usually end up with a different lease because I don't hunt much public. And what I've learned is, if you're holding a ton of does and bucks all summer, that doesn't necessarily correlate to the fall and winter. And vice versa too. Like right now, this lease that we have, our cameras were dead all spring, all beginning of summer, dead. Like we were getting nothing. A doe here and there, a small buck here and there, but literally within the last week, 2 weeks, everything's just all the cameras are firing now. There's more and more bucks moving in. We're getting 3-year-olds. Just last night we had a 4-year-old, at least what we think is a 4-year-old, on camera and stuff like that. And I think that's those deer that winter and spring off your property. And now that there's some ag and more food, everything's green and lush, there's more food. They're starting to gravitate back towards that home base where they know does are going to be come October, November, December.
Yeah. Speaking of cameras, that's why Josh is giggling at me, because my tablet is like following me around
Yes, I see that.
every time I move. I don't know why, but I mean, I know you just kind of hit on it a little bit, Shane, but talk about how that translates into your future hunting for when bow season comes around. How do you guys use that information, or do you guys use that information?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, September, October, food sources. That's a huge factor. We don't really, pretty much like my rule of thumb is, and it's obviously it's different depending on where you hunt and what kind of farm you have. But if I have a farm that's got ag, I'm pretty much living on the edges of the woods, September and early October to mid October. I don't really typically venture too far into the woods. Mid October, the bucks are starting to get a little fired up, and they'll start making scrapes. So you tend to want to hunt, mid to end October. You want to hunt scrapes off a trail, so you start to find yourself deeper in the woods. November's a total toss up. You just got to kind of be in the right place at the right time because they're all over the place, man. They're just pushing so many does constantly. The bedding thing goes out the window. Food sources kind of go out the window. You're just kind of hoping one pushes a doe by you at the right time. And then, late winter, just food sources if you can, if you got them. Heavy trails, wherever you think they're going to be crossing from bed to food or food to food. It's typically what I like. So, especially if it's hard, cold, a lot of snow. Even if you got a cut bean field, cut corn field, whatever, if we get a lot of snow, you'll see they'll paw those big holes in the snow. They'll get in there, and you typically find them an hour before sunset, right in those fields.
Right on.
If you know where they're bedding, and then that's what you do later in the year.
Yeah.
You catch them, they're going to feed, and they're going to hole up back in that bedding. They're not doing a whole lot else. So if you can catch them, like you say, right place, right time, and catch them in that pattern, I think that's a key to success.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the rut is obviously the rut's a total toss up, but if you have a big chunk of woods that you're hunting, like you just want to find like the prime doe bedding area, because I mean the does are getting pushed around, but bucks are also going to try. They know where the does bed typically, so they're going to come. They're going to come push them out or lock down with them in there. So if as long as you have access to get in there, you always want to play your access and play your wins.
Yeah.
Josh,
I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for both of you guys, as people who hunt a lot of sheds, use a lot of trail cameras, hunt a lot of public land. Have you ever found a shed one season and then killed the deer that it belonged to the next?
Now I have.
I mean, I know I'm asking. This is all new to me. It's just, I mean,
It's tough. I think at least for a lot of the public that I'm hunting, a lot of those deer are moving off in the winter and moving on to a better food source, whether it's somebody baiting them or ag. And obviously, I can't get to their antlers if they're over there. But that's definitely a goal at some point.
I mean, you came pretty close this year. I mean, the fact that you shed hunted that spot, realized that that's a spot you wanted to be in, come early season, mid season, the rut, and then you pulled it off in the first month. I'd say that's probably as close as it gets, outside of finding his sheds from last year.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So what's the biggest one you found, or what's your favorite ones that you found?
Shed?
Yeah.
I've got a 72-inch 5, which is my biggest, and that's typical.
Are you talking one side?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So
Favorite's a tough one. I like them all.
Yeah.
I got a lot of cool deadheads. This year, he went 154. He's a mainframe 7 with about a 3-inch kicker, so he's about 150-inch 7.
Wow.
Which, pretty hard to do, especially on public land, and being just a big, heavy deer. I think he was 5 to 6 years old, so that's kind of my most memorable find of the year.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. I'm thinking about like so when you go out there, you're teaching us, and we're learning through this conversation. But so you go out west, like what are the tactics that you're looking for? I mean, obviously, you talked about the time of year, the snow melt. It's a little bit different out out west than it is here. Uh, but what tactics? What are the things that you're looking for? Are there any type of sketchy moments? I know because I know you're dealing with elevation out west that you're not necessarily dealing with the same type of terrain here. Talk me through what your tactics are and how you go about or approach your 3 or 4 days that you spend out west.
I don't know that there was ever a sketchy moment except for the fact that I felt like we were going to get eaten by a mountain lion the entire time we were in the mountains.
Just the back of your mind.
No, dude, the whole time. That's all. Even leading up to the trip, that's all like we could think about was like, man, I hope we don't get eaten by a mountain lion. And we came across some tracks. I don't know that we ever came across cat tracks, but we definitely came across some wolf ones that were fresh in the snow.
That's cool.
What was
Nature's
that?
incredible. You got to respect it.
Shane left. Seen one standing on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
But
gnarly.
I think we were out there. We really
What's
were.
that?
I feel like we were really just kind of winging it out there.
Yeah.
Just trying to put on as many miles and glass as much as we can. But I kind of felt like if somebody comes here and walks a lot of the same public that me and some of the people I know are walking, I think there's locals out there that are just dialed. I know like the day that we found the first one and we came out, there was like 2 guys pretty much right where we had found the shed heading in to camp for the night and look all the day the next day.
Yeah.
So I think it's I think you just kind of got to find the right herd that hasn't been picked. I don't know.
You guys gonna do it again?
I wanted to, but my buddy that lives out there, he just moved, so I don't know. We were on public, but the nice thing was he lived out there and he hunted elk out there, so he knew like exactly where to go. If we were going out there on a whim, like I wouldn't have had a clue of where to even start mountain wise, But yeah, I mean, like we put in a lot of miles. Where we found that shed was obviously a clear area where they were feeding all night long. Because I mean, it was just basically grass, and up in a mountain, and but there was poop everywhere, and there was hard trails coming down off the mountain out of the pines into this field. And like right off the get go, we we're like, man, there's a ton of sign in here. There's a ton of sign in here, and then Mason ended up finding that one. But outside of that, like my buddy, basically, he was thinking, how it works is as it snows high up in the mountain, it pushes those elk further down so that they can get away from, they're trying to run away from the snow, basically. And so a lot of times they winter low, even though they're still getting snowed low, they're not getting as much.
Sure.
And then as the snow melts, they recede back up the mountain. So we were kind of just chasing that snow line, trying to figure out exactly where they were living, in the mountain at that time. And I just think we were one step behind them the whole time, whether it been the elk or the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an adventure either way, dudes. So
Totally a cool experience.
Yeah, it was fun. My buddy, though.
Go ahead.
My buddy that we went with, literally the week before we got there, they found a matching set, and we walked that area where he found it, and it was totally different terrain. Like the whole first day we were up in the pines, up in the mountains, in rocks and stuff like that, and then the next day we looked at the area where he found that matching set, and it was more like desert. Like it was real small mountains. It was just like sagebrush, not much cover at all, and just little pockets of trees where they could get in and bed down. And that's where he found that matching set. But we didn't find it. We didn't find anything when we got in there.
That's gnarly. I'm gonna get these boys fired up right now. Talk about relic and arrowhead hunting real quick as we start to wrap up.
That's on him, man. He's the master.
I don't know. I think it's kind of the same thing as sheds. Like if you're out there looking on a lot of beaches and a lot of fields, you're going to find some. And as far as the arrowheads go, I'm lucky enough to have a couple private pieces that border some creeks, and just walking them when they're tilled. I'm looking for low spots. What I always try and think is it's either going to be as low as possible where there's been washout, or it's going to be as high as possible on a south-facing slope where they're trying to get sun. I think the Indians had all that figured out. Like they're a lot smarter than we were. So they and I think being somewhere along a river or creek is crucial. I really don't spend any time walking fields unless I'm near a creek or a river. And the river thing's tough. I'm not too good at that. I found a few while shed hunting this year, walking them, but it's I think that a lot of that is just luck and finding the right beach. And when you do, I've hit beaches and got 10, 15 in a couple hours, but I've also spent a lot of time walking beaches and not found any. So,
wow.
And it's all about the washout too, right?
Yeah. I'm looking for about 3 to 4 foot of cliff. Gets me into the layer that there would have been points and would be washing out.
Wow.
Isn't it crazy to think like how much more dirt has just been added on top of where their dirt was? That blows my mind every time I think about it.
Yeah, where Josh and I grew up, just right below the Mason-Dixon line, the old like actual physical road went through our front yard, and there was like a 8 to 10 foot swath that went through the woods, and then they built the new road. But people back then would just take their trash out in the middle of nowhere and just toss it. So that's what we would do, man. I mean, not for arrowheads and stuff, but we would find so many cool old bottles. And there's guys that do that on what's that guy I sent you? There's a guy in Georgia that does that and makes thousands and thousands of dollars selling these recovered bottles. But when you said about the dirt, I mean, they didn't bury the stuff. They just chucked it. And we've gone out there and you'd have to dig through this silt and the leaf layers and stuff like that. And we found some cool stuff back then, man, didn't we? I mean, some gnarly.
We definitely found some antique medicine bottles and Coke bottles and glasses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. I have one more question about this shed hunting thing. You're so successful. I mean, you said you had a really good year last year, 70 couple. What do you do with them?
So all the big ones kind of just sitting around my room, and I look at them all year, look at them every night.
Okay.
They're kind of just in a pyramid. But
are you outside the man cave?
I'm up on the deck.
Is anybody in the man cave?
Yeah, deer are getting scored right now. So
I was gonna say you should since you're on your phone, you should show them the man cave. It's pretty dope.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're actually going to do a thing here soon. If you want to film it, I want to do like man cave tours. So if you get a chance, both of you, whoever, I know you're moving, Shane, but take a minute and let's film some stuff. Cause I want to see I'm into that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's all kinds of stuff in that man cave. Full body mounts, antlers, moose antlers, turkeys.
Wow.
That's all the stuff we all appreciate. All that stuff as guys. Chris, Josh, and I were on a group text earlier, and we were just talking about literally. We're all grown children.
Yes.
And so I think most guys are just a giant child at heart, and so collecting these things, it's and being able to, Mason, like you said, just I enjoy having it.
Yeah. I got a bunch of my hunting stuff behind me, but what you can't see to my right over my shoulder is a whole shelf of Batman comic books. So I like all that stuff. But so out of all those things, Mason, I know I've talked to Shane a bunch. What's your favorite thing? What's your jam, dude, out of all that stuff we talked about?
I'd have to put shed hunting up top, I think. It's,
okay.
It's like you against yourself.
Yeah, and I can go out. I mean, I have a lot of days, I'll walk 8 hours and not find a shed, but I'm typically successful. Whereas, I'm hunting all year for one opportunity. I think it's cool when you can be successful almost every time you're out for something, and sheds is something I feel like I've kind of got to that point.
Well, you know, that reminds me of, and you were talking about the arrowheads and stuff, man. There's a lot of old, like, Native American culture and stories, and even other, like, warrior stuff where that's how you would prove yourself, by, like, sneaking into the right place at the right time and stealing something from your enemy or touching them. And you're kind of doing that, dude. Like, you've got them so dialed in that you're literally, you know, picking up what they've left behind. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, man. It's a lot. It's pretty rad.
Well, you guys should be in prime Arrowhead territory up there. You're right on the Susquehanna, aren't you?
So I live about probably 25, 30 miles west of that. We are in, like, a really historic area. The issue is a lot of us, especially, like, kind of where Ron lives in between us, is all, there's so much historical stuff that you can't, like, relic on a lot of the stuff around here because of Gettysburg and because of the Civil War stuff. And that there's people that do, and there's places that you can, but it's like real hush hush, because if they find out that you found a bullet or a musket ball, some of these historical places will come in and start snatching stuff up. And that's like for real, like, not a joke, you know? So, I mean, I know some people that have found some cool stuff and they're like, don't tell anybody this, right? You know? So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool Native American stuff, like where I grew up, and Josh grew up in Silver Run. That's like the name, the Susquehanna River. That was the Indians that were there. The Susquehannock were out there. So there's a lot of cool stuff with that. There's a crazy legend, a crazy scary legend about the Indians out there that killed a girl. It's pretty cool, actually. But that's for a different.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's
no
pretty
big
cool.
deal.
It's where we grew up. It's kind of scary. It's okay.
It's history.
Yeah. So.
Well, listen, guys. Yeah, I mean, my question would be, you know, as we sort of round things out here tonight, for guys that are hunting sheds out east here, like us, you know, what kind of advice would you give an eastern hunter if he was going to go out and do a Midwest or a Western shed hunt like you guys did?
Go ahead, Mason.
Don't wing it.
I don't. I just say go out there and spend as much time as you can in the mountains. I'm a guy that'll walk sun up till sundown, because I just you know, I want them, and I go up to Maine and look for moose paddles, and that's kind of what we do. And I think if you're going to go out there, just give yourself as much time and don't overthink it. Just get out and walk.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of time. We only had a couple days. Ideally, like a week would have been nice. It had given us more time to kind of figure out areas that we really wanted to pick apart. Definitely don't overthink it. Just pick a mountain and go. And try to get as much intel on the snow melt as possible if you're going to hit. Because the way it works out there is some of the land is open all the time to shed hunt, and there's some of the land that's under a shed season, which doesn't open up till a specific time. So we were going for the land that was open all the time. So to do that, you really have to plan around that snow melt, because, like we said, you know, we were just I think we were a touch late. A lot of it already gotten walked by the locals. So if you can plan the snow melt, that's a good route. Or you could wait till the actual shed season in some of these mountains. But I've heard some crazy stories from that, because it sounds like it's just pure chaos. Basically.
Everybody wants to be in the honey spot.
Because people sell them out there, right? I mean, that's like a commodity almost. You can turn them into different things, right? So
yeah, a lot of people, like, for those areas where it's a shed season, like several hundred people camping out that whole week just waiting for it to open. And then, like, when the DNR gives the green light that morning, you'll literally, I've seen videos of literally people just like running into the mountains looking for them. But that could also be a good chance of finding one or two, you know. It's just hard to say.
They're running because they know they're there.
Yeah, they knew Mason was in the state, so they're like, somebody's got to get these sheds.
That's right. I thought for sure you were gonna say, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give for us people in the East shed hunt around here? And my thing was just be like, don't let Mason get there first.
Mason's gonna cover the ground. What's the law like? All right, so you said, Chris, you said about the commodity and selling out west, but like, what's the law in Maryland on sheds you find? Because I know in PA you can't sell them, to my knowledge.
Yeah, so I know you can't sell deer meat you can't sell any part of a deer in Maryland.
Right.
And I don't give up any of my antlers. I've given 2 or 3 away to buddies that ended up killing the deer, but that's about it. Everything else I hold
That's
on.
cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's the rule. You're just not allowed to sell anything.
Yeah. I know that there's like a weird gray area. So for instance, my real good friend, Josh knows him, does our taxidermy. And he big time duck hunter. I mean, he's just the outdoorsman. Josh knows Garrett, right? I mean, if he could live, if there was an apocalypse, this dude's living fine. He doesn't go to the grocery store for meat. He's out there catching blue cats where you guys live every weekend that he's off, just living on the land. And I say all that because he does taxidermy. He's found some really nice deadheads and maybe a shed or two. But because he gets audited from the DNR for taxidermy, he can't have anything in his possession doesn't have a tag on it.
Right.
So I don't know how that applies to this, but he's given me some really cool. He probably gave me, Josh, how big's that one I showed you at my house the other day? It's on the American flag.
Yeah,
It's probably what
120s.
Yeah, just this monster. Just real. I'll take a picture and send you guys. But he's like, this is cool, but I can't have it at my house because when they come check stuff, even to the point where like he's got a mount that was his grandfather's, and he had to track down the tag for it. To have in his house. So yeah, obviously I say that's a long-winded different route, but check what you can have and what you can't have, different things. So
I think Maryland DNR, I'm pretty sure they require you to have a tag for any deadhead you find, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure like 99% of people are not doing that, and I don't really think they care too much. I just think that's the law.
Yeah. Well, we had an episode, I don't know, 2 or 3 episodes ago, where we were talking about government over-regulation, and we had a pretty good conversation about what we thought about that too. So we understand that there are laws on the books for a reason, but we also think that look, I'd rather self-regulate than be regulated. Unfortunately, there are folks out there that don't know how to self-regulate, so it is what it is. But listen, guys, we're going to wrap up. I appreciate you tonight. Where can folks find you if they want to follow you? Mason, do you got any socials?
Yeah, I got Facebook and Instagram, which is just under my name, Mason Newton.
Newton.
Also, Mason, are you still good to score deer?
I am. Yep, I'm official for bucks, bears, and stags. Anybody wants any Maryland deer score or courtesy score on anything else, I score all my sheds. So
that's good. I'm trying to get past probably 54 inches this year. So let me know.
That's cool, Mason, because whenever I score something, it's the unofficial Menser Outdoors score. They don't really count.
Listen, I'm the doe commander, man. I'll take that all day. So cool.
All right, Shane, plug yourself, man.
Yep, Upper Bay Podcast, YouTube, Spotify. Most of my social stuff is just under my name, Shane Muller, on Instagram. But Upper Bay Podcast does have a TikTok as well. So
awesome. Yeah, we have to talk about TikTok next. Josh, Chris, final words from you guys.
Josh, go ahead.
I've never found a shed. I really want to, so I'm going to try late January, early February this year.
Listen, the biggest shed that my son ever found was, no joke, I'm not even exaggerating, underneath of Josh's tree stand. There's a stream that runs by it, and we were looking for trout. And my son goes, "What is this?" and holds up this little half of a 6-point, And I'm like, "Oh man, that is legitimately under Uncle Josh's tree stand." So I'm taking a poll, and I talked to Ron and Josh off the air of this. I guess I shouldn't say taking a poll. There's my thing for the week.
There you
go. I'm getting people's opinions on something, and you guys are probably the guys to ask for this. I'm obviously a hunter, outdoorsman. I collect things. My wife's grandfather bought at an auction for me. What do you think that deer is without scoring it? 120s, 130s, Josh?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
I have it here. I'll show it in a minute. They gave me this Euro mounted buck, and it's really cool. It's a cool gift. But like, I'm kind of weird because like I don't have a connection to this thing. So what's your thoughts on stuff like that?
Go ahead, Mason.
Just personally,
Yeah.
keep any antlers that are really given to me. Just because I have a big pile.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's something crazy big, that's different. But I kind of see where you're coming from on that. Like you don't really have any connection. You weren't hunting the deer. You didn't find it.
It's cool. Go ahead.
I don't really blame you at all. I think I'd feel the same way.
Yeah. It's cool. I'll show you guys. I just pulled it down actually to show Josh. Like, it's a cool. Trying to get in my camera because it's going to follow me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some character. It's cool. It was like professionally done.
Hold on, let me try to throw him out here. I'm trying to make you larger. I just can't do it.
I can't back up into my wall anymore.
I'm already pulled over. I can't pull over.
Smell that, man. So it's cool, man. I mean, it's got like some features to it, and it's got this cool kickers and stuff here. And it was definitely a really meaningful gift, but I'm like, I don't even know if I want to have this, like, I don't want to put this with my stuff. A,
Right.
it's bigger than a lot of the bucks I've killed. And and B, just because, like you said that, so I was just getting I like to talk about that kind of stuff, getting people's opinions on it. And
yeah, I mean, I don't
there,
really.
so.
I guess if I was gifted something like that, I would feel obligated to take it. But
Yeah.
the only taxidermy that I've taken is when my grandfather passed away. And
Right.
And I only kept that because, I mean, obviously it was my grandfather and I knew all the stories, but at the same time, I just didn't want it to get thrown away either.
Right.
So,
I told Josh, I said, every time we come on, I want to like come up with like a different part of a story for this epic thing and just keep making something up, like
just
keep adding to it, so thanks guys. That was just
I gotta ask, have you ever seen Escanaba in the Moonlight?
Yeah.
That's like something like that. That's all I think about. Just start telling a story about like just something like that. The aliens come in with
That's a
one
nuts,
potato, two
crazy
potato.
movie. We ought to do a show on that.
What's funny is, so when I first met my wife, they're not hunters. I mean, they're not against it, but they just didn't grow up that way. And I'm starting to hang out with all them. And their dad rented that movie thinking like, oh, Chris is into hunting and stuff. And then it ends up being like the weirdest. I mean, it's funny to us, right? But they're looking at me like, I'm like, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, Like,
Yeah.
So.
Mason, I know you're a little young, buddy, but that's a movie you should watch if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's a 10-point. He gets his 10-point. Is that what it was?
Yeah. His brother's wearing that tore up flannel. He's like, I've been wearing this since I killed my first buck.
all the rumors of a hunting camp.
Yeah.
We ought to do a show talking about that one, and then the same. I don't know if it's the same writer made one about fishing.
Oh really?
Oh okay.
Oh yeah. It's like Frozen Stupid or something like that. I'll look it up. I'll send it to you guys. It's epic.
Yeah.
I think it's even better.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Anything else? Parting words?
No, I got nothing. Thanks for having us on, boys. I appreciate it.
Thanks
guys,
for coming.
It's a blast hanging out, sharing stories, and we'll do it again. Mason, appreciate you hopping out here and spending some time with us tonight. I'm going to see if I can throw up a video as we go home tonight. So for everybody else, appreciate you hanging out with us, and so remember, get outdoors and stay wild.